in the game. Rukil.
Yes.
These teams' journeys almost seem longer compared to other seasons. It's not technically true. They played the same amount of games, but it was stretched over 7 weeks compared to 3 weeks in the past.
Yeah, and that gave these teams a better chance to grow. They had more time to practice, prepare for their opponents, prepare for that map of the day that was going on, so that they knew one map, they knew how to play it, they knew their opponent, and I think that really helped these teams kind of prepare for this final, where now we have any map in the pool of 5.
SIMP, one of the most prepared teams because of experience, undefeated, champions from Season 3, but now they face Bernal Empires, whose journey from the beginning of the Gold League has been up and down, but now they're back. Now they're here to perform the best that they can bring against SIMP, a very, very high-class team. So let's take a look at the journey of Bernal Empires through the division. Bernal Empires came to Season 4 equipped with Molotov cocktails of doom. In Week 1, they faced Gong Fu.
Shuma King should go down, and he does.
It ended in a tiebreaker.
Hey, Servios could get it, and he does.
Firing on the move, getting his connections, and there, Zone Delta's able to steal the kill.
Get it. He does. Bernal Empire is able to do it.
In Week 2, they faced Hammer Time.
So NYPD knows what's happening, but it's too late. Servios from up top gets a kill. The T1 could do it, fires, and he gets it. SPM off kills.
But they're forced to split damage. They're going to lose a tank.
It also ended in a tiebreaker.
Where Bernal Empires place their tanks. Base has been captured, tying up the series 2-2. Which one's going to get the kill? And he gets it from behind. Boom! Goes the dynamite. Azrael falls. Hammer Time is able to come back down 0-2 against Bernal Empires and win in the tiebreaker.
Week 3 did not go in favor of Bernal Empires as they faced the Cunninghams.
Joe Jackington lines up the shot again, and he gets it for a total of 73. And Trireme falls. Ammo wrecked.
So our goals for Season 4 is we feel like we're at a place where we do know who we are, we do know what we bring, and it's time for us to show it to everyone else.
Bernal Empires turned things around in Week 4 as they battled River of Blood.
You can see a Goomba even.
Serving. Oh, Zone Delta from up top. In 2-1, he gets it. Nice play coming out of Bernal Empires.
Week 5, the series between Refuse to Die and Bernal Empires went to all 5 battles.
And he does.
And he falls to G-Forcer. Gets tracked. And they get both of them.
In Week 6, the Pain Train, with Bernal Empires as a conductor, made its next stop in the land of the Googly Bobbers.
The falls first. Very well played coming out of Bernal Empires. This is why they're the second place team this season.
In Week 7, Bernal Empires found the brakes to the Pain Train. They were labeled Fnatic.
Bernal Empires just not able to do it. And Fnatic just getting enough work done.
In the wild cards, Bernal Empires fought Fun Gaming to secure a spot in the playoffs.
And Bernal Empires executes aggressively very well.
Down, he actually can't get the shot, and they do it! Bernal Empires battles their way through the wild cards.
Bernal Empires secured 4th place in the Bravo division. Himmelsdorf will be the first battle in this series, the one that Rukil is able to tell us straight. The countdown has completed. The match is about to begin. Again, the winner will go on to the winner's match, and then after that, if they win again, they're in. They're going to the finals. They have a shot at that $100,000 prize pool. The loser, still in it, but they'll be knocked down to the lower bracket. Rukil, playoffs are now in motion. What do we have for tanks?
All right, we've got 3 AMX 5100s, 2 IS3s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams for SIMP. The red team spawning in the north. The blue team, Bernal Empires, spawning in the south, will have 2 AMX 5100s, 3 IS3s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams.
And we'll see the spread initially coming from SIMP. A little bit of divide. One of the 5100s, or one of the heavy tanks, going towards the hill, the rest going on the west. Bernal Empires fanning out a bit. Servios hanging back, checking in with Azrael 90. He's going straight through the courtyard.
All right, that's an interesting call. I think Bernal Empires might be a little prepared for that northwest defensive position. I feel like we all called it out of SIMP. They have the north side. Why not play that northwest defensive? It looks like their rollout, though, will be a little different as we have Abrasive and Heavy 20 to lead the way. Abrasive will be in an IS-3 today, and we won't be seeing a Droxus, which is a bit surprising from SIMP, as I've gotten used to a Droxus Heavy 20 being that IS-3 comp.
Shots firing from SIMP in the northwest, and Bernal Empires has taken to the 8 line. Zone Delta and Servios are hanging back across the Gulf section, while Delta is almost swarmed with the other half of the Bernal Empires team. SBM Hawk swinging around towards the west to verify that no tanks from SIMP have pushed further south. And the other T1s, the Garmin, going towards the flag cap. They divided this map in half. They have put themselves in an aggressive position. If they can pull one of the tier 8s away, it could be the trigger for them to push. However, SIMP has the flag cap guarded as Heavy 20 has pulled back towards that position.
Yep. And SIMP has actually thrown a bit of a wrench into the normal plan. They've got Blue Boy's captain up on the hill. Now, he could have taken out a T1, but now he's actually behind enemy lines, meaning that when Bernal Empires believes this northwest camp is here, Blue Boys will either be able to create counter cap or play around in the backfield and try and pick somebody off. At the same time, MacG and Fedge have made their way down the 1 line. They're prepared to make counter cap pressure. And if Zone Delta shows up, there is a little bit of prep. Abrasive, Heavy 20 can begin putting a little bit of that counter pressure on. We've got Sing actually moving away from that position, meaning MacG and Fedge may get picked off if they're not well prepared. And it does look like Zone Delta is taking a healthy level of caution into this attempt to kill T1s. He knows there's the potential for cover fire from the north. SIMP has it in Abrasive, Heavy 20 is not. And I think that's Crimson Corsair. So we've got 1 tank, and only 1 tank, covering MacG and Fedge. They're going to actually begin moving up as Zone Delta moves back, giving up on this little endeavor to try and get T1 advantage.
SBM Hawk still camping in that corner. Can't tell if they're spotted or not, but now Bernal Empires is not aggressing. They haven't aggressed at all with the heavy tanks they've had on the Gulf line, but they're more cautious to do so because of Fedge and MacG's presence.
Looks like SBM Hawk is sneaking a few shells underneath the trains, but T1 sit a little bit too high. So it'll only go into tracks, and Fedge angles his armor well. He bounces. Now I think Mac is going to go hunting for SBM Hawk and try and get a little bit of a T1 lead. They will find each other, and SBM actually blows most of the shots. Zone Delta will need to come back him up, and Fedge is able to back MacG up. Between the two of them, they should be able to take down SBM Hawk fairly easily.
Well, here comes Zone Delta to cover, and he's going to get spotted because of the 50-meter
He might have been just
range.
outside of it.
Possibly, because MacG and Fedge both backed up.
You're right, you're right.
But, yeah, I'm pretty sure they saw that, and they're going to get out of there.
Yeah, and I'm going to look at the posturing from the rest of the team. Abrasive looking to the south. Sing covering. Crimson Corsairs backed up a little bit, so there's plenty of cover from SIMP on any attempted attacks from those T8s to get T1 advantage. Blue Boys, in the meantime, I'm going to need to watch him a lot because he has so much potential to just mess up Bernal Empires. Look at how they're posturing right now. You see on the minimap, Bernal Empires is moving closer and closer to their opponent's cap. They have read the defensive position in the northwest, and they're expecting all 5 T8s there. They do not know that Blue Boy's captain is on the hill still. Once he is off the hill, and once he is discovered, that will change everything for Bernal Empires. He has so much flanking potential that if Bernal Empires goes in, Blue Boys can return to base or make a fast cap, and that could throw this into the favor of SIMP for battle number 1.
It's 5 minutes and 16 seconds, plenty of time for either team to change up their strategy or initiate a trigger. Zone Delta hanging back towards his flag cap, defensive posture, while the rest of the 50, 100s, and IS-3s are either on the Delta line, the Charlie line, or Golf heading back towards the flag cap. So you got a 3-2 division. Bernal Empire still in the backyard of SIMP, front yard I should say, of the flag cap, but not aggressing. SIMP ready for them to make a move. Ruka, I could see a standstill happening for both these teams unless a possible overmatch happens with those 2 heavy tanks in the defensive position for Bernal Empires. That's going to be the biggest key here if, and it looks like they might be doing it, if they move up the 8 line and put pressure on the flag cap, forcing movement towards the north on SIMP's own flag, bringing them in a better crossfire, especially with the position they have down the 5 line.
Yes, I would have to agree on that. That 5-line position is very dangerous. And you can see how they're set up. You can see how Bernal Empires has that T1, Z Garmin, who's actually going to be moving around. I'm curious to see where he goes. That tells me a lot about the intentions of Bernal Empires. If they keep the T1 in the north, that's going to be a screen from the T8s, and then the T1's going to do a little work by getting on cap. Now, it does look like he's going to move up to the north a little bit more. Zagarman possibly going to try and spot out Heavy 20, who is sitting in a keyhole position and not quite looking the proper direction to just snapshot Zagarman. Now, Zagarman is getting closer. Much, much closer, and he will soon be able to spot Heavy 20. Once he does that, that may be the trigger for Bernal Empires to try and push the cap and make this work. Zagarman will have to handle this very delicately, though, because if he does not spot Heavy 20 in time and get out, we could see a T1 down, and that could actually ruin Bernal Empire's chances at a fast cap and victory for battle number 1.
Servio still holding. And here comes some movement coming from Bernal Empires.
Did Zagarman, did he not spot Heavy 20? Heavy 20
I don't think so.
Does not appear to have spotted Zagarman. But now he's actually poking out in a direction that I'm worried for that T1.
Static and G-Forcer that are closest to the flag cap right now. 2 minutes and 50 seconds. If a movement has to happen that's aggressive from Bernal Empires, it's going to have to happen very quickly here.
They're going to wait. They're going to wait.
They're going to wait, but look at SIMP's T1 positioning on the minimap. You'll see in your bottom right-hand corner on the screen that they are poised to go for the flag cap as soon as Bernal Empires attacks.
It looks like they're pushing on it now, knowing that there's about 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. If there are 2 tanks on the cap, that gives them 50 seconds each. Well, 50 points each. So they can get it done in about 66 seconds, I believe. And so they will need all the time they can, because there's probably going to be a reset. If SBM Hawk plays it right, he'll probably be able to get 1 reset in there if he doesn't lose himself early.
Yep.
And then that T8 zone delta could come into play here, especially if SIMP jumps the gun. We do see Blue Boy's captain moving up, so they are expecting to do that counter cap pressure. They're playing that head game, you know. Bernal Empires. Oh, and Mac G. Mac G goes down. Fedge in a fight goes down. T1s are down for SIMP. They have no chance of that counter cap pressure. Blue Boys, recognizing now that Zone Delta is in the area, has more shells, and the fight is going to begin up north. Heavy 20 taking shells is down to 791 hit points.
Really nice fast fire coming from G-Forcer and Static. The rest of Bernal Empires are going to scramble. One still staying behind, trying to catch that 5100, maybe pushing up against him. Heavy 20 low. Zagarman falls to Sing. They're going to focus on Heavy 20 first. In that surround fire, all the IS-3s are here. Sing takes a hit to the front for 431. G-Forcer again for a total volley of 820 damage. These IS-3s want blood. 1 minute and 2 seconds. They want to chase these tanks, and Servios is coming behind. Abrasive and Crimson Corsair are in trouble.
They were able to take down Servios. That is good for them. Blue Boys is going to take down Zone Delta, having more shells. Easy kill for him. But Crimson Corsair and Abrasive need to run as quickly as they can. This 3-man IS-3 hit squad is so dangerous right now. And Crimson is going to be going around the corner. And the first shell is a miss.
Missed shot from Static, and Azrael will see Abrasive. Abrasive will live for a couple more seconds as Static is waiting on the reload. G-Forcer is going to ram towards Crimson Corsair. Static gets the kill. Crimson Corsair still unloading with only 8 hit points left. G-Forcer gets him. 20 seconds left. And the death squad of IS-3s are trying to find Blue Boy's captain, who has stayed up on the hill the entire time.
He moved down, got that kill on Zone Delta.
And then he moved back.
Yes, so he was able to make a smart call. SIMP is going to be able to draw this first battle, but just look at how they were torn apart. Excellent execution by Bernal Empires in this first battle. That will give them plenty of damage if this goes to the end game, that extra battle on Sand River. And that's all they need right now.
We talked about this being a position that SIMP was the most vulnerable.
Yes.
Looking at straight facts of when they suffered their losses against all the teams they faced in their 7 matches in the division. And 90% of the time, when it wasn't a flag cap, it was because of the aggression that happened at the beginning. That would later lead, into a flag cap. Not necessarily a fast flag cap, but a fast, aggressive movement, a decoy, if you will, allowing for the T1s and other tanks to get that flag capture. Now, no damage was done before, geez, the 2-minute and 50 mark until the T1s were taken out.
Yeah.
Well, SBM Hawk took a little bit of damage,
Yeah,
but
it's
negligible.
Yeah.
The thing was, once the trigger was activated, Bernal Empires were landing their shots against SIMP, except for that one missed shot against Static, who was turning around the corner.
Yeah.
But that concentrated fire, predicting where SIMP is going to be in their defensive mode, was borderline perfect.
Yes. The only real mistake was that they were not able to discover Blue Boys. Blue Boys was the little tank in that battle that actually saved it for him. The fact that he was out of the fight, not with the rest of the group clustered, now that could have meant that they were unable to hold up against that group of 4 who were performing so exceptionally well. Those 3 IS-3s deal so much damage. But you could also argue that he did a good job in being out of the fight, allowing for SIMP to lose.
Let's take a look at that IS-3 hit squad.
Yes.
The amount of damage they did. First up, G-Forcer, 4 for 9. Number of missed shots, but a lot of that could have been either blind fire or wrapping around those corners.
I think early game shots fired was that.
1598 damage. Azrael 90, 3 for 4. 1,218 damage. The other IS-3, 4 for 5, 1068, but above him was Zone Delta, 5 for 6. The spread of damage is the most notable thing to see here. 4 out of the 5 tier 8s. One of them at 953, the rest over 1,000 damage.
Yeah, and look at SIMP, though. You look over at SIMP, you see that Crimson Corsair in his 5100 went 6 for 6 and got 1,862 damage dealt. Unfortunately, Heavy 20 was unable to deal any damage at all. He went 0 damage.
Yeah, and that was the biggest factor. Blue Boy's captain wasn't able to see the amount of shots he was able to fire, but one of those tier 8s was on the hill. I believe it was him for the longest time. He came down, then he went back up.
Yeah, he went down to try and get that counter cap, went back up after killing Zone Delta and recognizing that this was a lost battle. I need to draw. Yeah.
Prokhorovka, battle number 2 between Bernal Empires and SIMP. Anything can happen. Rukiel, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we have a T-32, T-69, 3 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. They are the red team in the north. In the south, the blue team, Bernal Empires, will have a T-32, 2 T-69s, 2 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams.
Draw happened in battle number 1. The winner moves on in the winner's match. Loser gets knocked down to the loser's match in this double elimination bracket.
And for the opening moves, Blue Boys is going for a scout run in his 1390. Well placed, nice and safe, doesn't stay out too long. He spots a few tanks. G-Forcer takes a shot, but does not connect.
Zone Delta almost fired a shot, but he was on the move against Blue Boy's captain, who popped up for a fraction of a second. And then left the sights, but Zone Delta might pop up again.
Don't do it. Abrasive is right there, and he gets the connection. 231 damage in the first shot. Advantage going to SIMP to start this one out.
It was that moment where Servios hesitated to go for it, and he didn't, and he fell back. But once he fell back, he saw the one turret move towards him, and that's when he took the shot. I know that feeling. It is.
We all do.
It's that, oh, I shouldn't make this mistake, and then it happens.
You get greedy. T1 goes down. Zagarman is dead. Abrasive and Crimson Corsair fire. It looks like Abrasive is going to go on to reload, having only fired twice. Good choice. T69 is just such a fast reload that when you recognize there's going to be a lull in the combat, it's a good time. Now it looks like Static is spotted, takes 339 damage. Abrasive is reloaded. He's going to start unloading as best he can. Does not. Oh, one more shot on the Static. 241 damage.
Servios, G-Forcer, and Zone Delta should have took advantage of that moment to push against those tanks firing towards Static. Unfortunately, they hesitated, and now SIMP was able to fall back behind the defilades and use that hold-down position against the tanks from Bernal Empires that are popping up.
This is not going very well right now for Bernal Empires. They're taking a lot of damage. They're not able to time it right. I do not think they were expecting to have Static spotted. That was the big thing about it. And when he took as much damage, he's down to 520 hit points. SIMP is well prepared. MacG has gone down, but as we all know, the Mac attack.
The Mac attack indeed. What happens in the Mac attack? The team, SIMP, has a higher chance of winning if Mac is knocked out. At least at the beginning stages.
Yes.
of the battle.
He's able to just direct his team so very well, micros everyone, and now it does look like there's going to be a little movement. I'm seeing motion out of T1s. Fedge is moving up. It looks like he's going to go past where Mac went down. Mac sacrificed for about half the hit points, 500 hit points on Static. If they can make it worth it again for Fedge, they could get the kill on Static. Looks like Fedge may have been spotted. Yes, he was. He's going to begin juking around in his T1. Shots fired, missing all over the place. One more connection. That's it. Azrael gets the kill. Now both T1s for Simp are down, and that is huge on a map like this. We can see counter-cap pressure from SBM Hawk with a simultaneous attack, or at least distraction from Bernal Empires.
G-Forcer still holding in the T-32, closest to Simp's tanks. He was firing towards Fedge. And now the push from Simp coming down the one line.
Yep, Heavy 20 stops, begins aiming. It looks like Singh is going to get himself on slightly higher ground in a bush. Good positioning from him. And Blue Boy's captain is moving up as well, zeroing shots. And first into G-Forcer, that T-32 may be focused down.
Azrael and Static are in the Kilo 3 section of the map, and they know that Simp are pushing some of their tanks down. They don't see him yet to get a shot, but this could be the counter to a lot of those Simp tanks, especially if they spot Singh in this moment. Azrael using the camouflage of these bushes to hide, and Singh may be spotted at any time. Azrael sees him, and now it's 2 against 1. And a big bounce against Singh. Singh's going to fire back into Azrael. Azrael fires again for a miss, and now Static turns. Azrael's in trouble. He could be the first target to fall, and he is. Heavy 20 gets the kill. Singh's going to pull back, and Static has to leave his position since he's so low on HP.
Simp is just dominating right now the positions on Prokhorovka. They have the high ground, the west. They also have the defilade. Crimson Corsair is able to rain damage wherever he wants.
And G-Forcer gets hit for 281 after a volley of shots to bring him at half health. Crimson Corsair takes a hit, and Zone Delta fires, or gets fired upon from Crimson Corsair as Zone Delta fires towards Heavy 20, and he falls, continuing the battle. Now it's a straight-up brawl between all of Bernal Empires and Simp. Heavy 20 is low. He stays alive long enough for Abrasive to take down Static. Heavy 20 has one shot left as he angles towards Servios, possibly G-Forcer in the consistent fire tank, trying to hold out against Simp. Blue Boy's captain has taken no damage whatsoever, tier 8s, and now G-Forcer is low. Blue Boy's captain lining up another shot. Doesn't kill him yet, but one more, and G-Forcer will fall. SBM Hawk, last tank left alive. Minute and 7 seconds left for the flag cap. Not enough time as Simp's going to push to the north and clean this up.
Yep, Abrasive zeroing, gets the kill.
And Simp puts a point on the board.
It's a great way to start it. I love that movement. That is exactly how you're supposed to play Prokhorovka. You get squared off against your opponent. If they're in the west, you take the west, the very far west road. Once you have control, you have the high ground, and you combine that with a push into the forward middle position on Prokhorovka. You saw the T-32s and T-69 there, and then Singh playing the role as the scout. I think he gets lucky here. This is a little bit of luck, but a whole lot of skill from Simp. Their opponent is not prepared. Bernal Empires, it does not have the right angle covered. They don't have a T1 watching that approach, and because of that, you have an excellent play from Simp. They moved together. Their timings were flawless. Mac was able to call him just at the right time. Everything came together. Bernal Empires could try what they could, but they didn't have any options. They did not have the mobility of Simp, and they were not able to get out enough damage. They took so much damage. And take a look at the after-battle report.
G-Forcer, let's look at Bernal Empires first. Did a lot of damage in the T-32, but it was 10 for 19. Servios, 3 for 5 at 700, then 577, then 332, then 244. That is low for those tanks. Simp, 1802. Blue Boys, 10 for 11 shots. 1640 for Singh, 8 for 9. Crimson, 4 for 10 in the T-32, but again, the consistent fire tank.
He's just throwing shots out there.
Throwing them out there. 1252. Abrasive, 7 for 15. Abrasive throwing shots left and right in the T-69, trying to finish those tanks, especially in that brawl mode. That's the difference. One tank at Bernal Empires does over 2K damage. Everyone else is 700 or below. Simp spreads it out.
Yep.
Almost some of them over 15, 2 over 1500. The other two below 1,300 but above 1,000.
You have to notice how SIMP was able to focus down the right tanks. They left the T-32, recognizing it was not the highest potential damage. The 1390s, T-69s, they were going to do more. Kill them first, T-32 comes later. Yes, he's able to deal plenty of damage, but you have so much more. The 1390s and the T-69s are still alive. Your own T-32 stays alive for a little while, and damage soaks, you win.
And this will be battle number 3 between these two teams. SIMP is up 1-0 against Bernal Empires. Rookil, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we have 3 AMX 5100s, 2 IS-3s, 2 T1 Cunninghams. They're the red team in the south. In the north, Bernal Empires. 3 AMX 5100s, 2 IS-3s, 2 T1 Cunninghams. And now, opening moves. Looks like SIMP's going to go for perhaps an aggressive city side play with a complement of Blue Boys playing... this could be a bit of a throwback. We haven't seen this approach utilized as much this season, where we have a T8 chilling out on the 6th line, watching that direction, and this could actually turn into an all-out engagement right away. Azrael, G-Forcer, Zone Delta, moving into the Echo.
I haven't seen this type of aggression from SIMP in a while, Rookil. They've been able to hang back a little bit, but the type of play that Bernal Empires brought on Himmelsdorf, even though it turned into a draw, set the pace, and SIMP is going to meet that pace with their placement, initially at least, on Ensk, so far north from sparring to the south.
Yes.
On Foxtrot. Mac G now perched up in the window, able to spot these tanks wherever they go, the IS-3s.
And now Blue Boys has perfect cross shots. He's going to be able to deal damage, hits Zone Delta for 318. They cannot see him right now. They have to push, pull back, figure something out, because Blue Boys is in a beautiful position.
Big bounce off Zone Delta. G-Forcer, Azrael 90, and Zone Delta are going to push forward. And Mac G will stay to do a little bit of damage, 58 against Zone Delta, as the rest of these heavies will continue to push towards the south, spotting the rest of SIMP. Big shot from Heavy 20. He falls back. Zone Delta is low, below half health.
But here's the flank. Servio Static moving in on Singh, but Singh gets the first shots, and he will have the health advantage. Static moving in. He will start to block.
Nice HP sharing. Static able to stay alive and allow Servios to keep living. Crimson Corsair turning around the block, trying to get the last shot against Servios. He can't get it. Waiting for the last reload shot. He gets it, though. Static on the reload. And Crimson Corsair leaves the fray to get behind enemy lines. He could be crushed by one of those IS-3s to fall.
And now Blue Boys on the reload is moving in and begins an engagement on G-Forcer.
G-Forcer holds at 610 in that volley. He falls back. Azrael 90, still low, waiting for the reload. Heavy 20 around the corner. Blue Boys captain ready to sweep in to help. T1 Zagarman takes out Crimson Corsair.
And now Abrasive comes in behind, but Blue Boys gets Static, Abrasive gets Azrael, only T1s remain.
Zagarman able to take down one of the tier 8s so low, but they will not have the same luck with the remaining tier 8s. Zagarman and SBM Hawk are the last tanks alive, and SIMP is on the run to take him out. Blue Boys captain sees SBM Hawk, lines up a shot, misses, but the ram damage will destroy it, and SIMP puts 2 points on the board. They're one battle away from going on to the winner's match in the playoffs. Rookil, that was excellent play coming from SIMP. Blue Boys captain, the MVP, I mean, because of the initiation forcing Bernal Empires to push.
Yeah, you have to give it to Mac. He recognized that he needed to get proxy spotting, and that moving into that position, he did so in such a way that he was not going to get picked off. Good T1 driving from Mac keeps him alive for that proxy spot. Blue Boys, as he went to the 6th line, we noticed that early in the battle, a bit of a throwback. And that allowed for the combination of that allowed for Blue Boys to get a little damage here and there. It gave them a slight lead. SIMP was also prepared for the inevitable push. When you cannot return fire, maybe it's a good idea to start an engagement or get into better cover. The only real option for Bernal Empires at that point was forward. They couldn't just go back because Blue Boys had so much potential damage. Just to return to their own lines back into the backfield would have been disastrous.
I had to check my watch, Rookil, because it's been a little while since we have a match moving to battle number 4 kind of this early in the whole series.
Yeah.
But both these teams are making committed strategies, committed patterns, and that's what is important for these teams to do instead of wait, okay, let's try this, oh no, let's fall back. That indecisiveness, that second guessing yourself will lead to your own demise.
Yeah, and it looks like GeForcer has called a timeout. Maybe they're a little bit rustled here, having gone off a draw that they should have won. I felt that should have given them some confidence, knowing we should have won that. Don't beat yourselves up. We got the damage. If we go to the tiebreaker, that's a plus for us. But now with 2 down, I'm a little worried. The next battle will be on steps, I believe. And now I'm wondering what SIMP's going to be able to do. They're going to be able to play defensively. And I'm expecting those T-32s, Pershing, T-69. It's going to be very difficult. Steps is a hard map to attack. It is. It's just so difficult because of the hills and the open ground and the use of T-32s and how close you can put them to your own cap.
The spawn points, Bernal Empires will be to the south, and SIMP will be towards the north. So SIMP has that Eastern Valley advantage, but also some teams have been moving to the west to stop that type of spread, the type of positioning from some of the tanks and the rock placements on the western side of the map that has been catching a couple teams off guard. They said, oh, well, they're going to take the valley, so let's take the rocks. And then all of a sudden they turn the corner and there's 2 1390s ready for them. They take 2 hits, half their HP is gone, and they fall back.
Yeah.
So Bernal Empires has to be cautious about this, but they're the ones that have to be the aggressors because SIMP is up. And if they do play the draw game for this battle, they win.
I propose this, though. What if Bernal Empires is depending on SIMP to be defensive in all of their battles? You saw how they executed on Himmelsdorf. I think if SIMP plays defensively here and Bernal Empires has done their homework, they could be prepared to shut that down.
I agree. Battle number 4 on steps between Bernal Empires and SIMP. Real kill. What do we have for tanks?
For tanks, a Pershing, T-69, 3 1390s, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. For SIMP, the red team in the north. Bernal Empires, a T-32 Pershing, T-69, 2 1390s, a Lowell Tractor, and a T1 Cunningham. They're the blue team. I like this lineup from Bernal Empires. It is heavier than their opponents. Their opponent SIMP has not brought a T-32, they brought a Pershing. And that speaks to mobility. SIMP wants to be highly mobile and play their usual reactive game. This can work against Bernal Empires in that when they bring in this heavier lineup and they begin the engagement, they could have trouble. They might not have enough damage to throw the momentum in their favor. There's a lot of damage in those 1390s.
Static and Abrasive are leading the charge towards the west. Zone Delta and Zagarman are right behind him. SBM Hawk is going to stay behind in that Lowell Tractor. And Servios fired a shot.
Looks like blind fire. Yeah, a little blind fire here and there, just to check forward. And that is interesting. What is GeForcer doing?
GeForce is going up the no man's road. They're cutting the map in half. The west is completely occupied by Bernal Empires.
That's one way to do it. That's assuming a heck of a lot from your opponent. GeForcer, oh, nice shots. Unfortunately, Fedge,
no connections. Fedge is able to dodge.
He moved at the perfect time. Just a really heads-up play from that T1, recognizing that even though he may not be spotted, it is very likely his opponent will predict his position. Where else would GeForcer have just been spotted around that corner? They know, they fire. Fedge, he knows, he moves. Just next level play. And now GeForcer is going to be able to take that control. We're going to have MacG moving down the 0 line, trying to get a little more control for SIMP on the eastern side of the map. Looks like we have SIMP squaring up for a defense from a western assault.
GeForcer about to pop up around the corner. Potentially. The thing is, SIMP can be up in the north in those northern tracks. But Azrael 90 moved past the tracks, doesn't see anything yet coming from SIMP. And so this information gathering for Bernal Empires will allow them to get closer to that flag cap since the east is occupied. This will be an east versus west scenario.
We could see Blue Boys get himself into the backfield again. If he plays his 1390 aggressively right now, he could pick off SBM Hawk and enable Mac to get some cap pressure and save them a little bit. Does look like there's a slight bit of motion as Fedge is moving up. He is going to spot GeForcer. GeForcer fires at heavy 20, forcing his head down. This could allow for Bernal Empires to get a little ground. That's all they need. They just need to get up close to SIMP and trap them. If SIMP is unable to leave, run away, anything, they could have the victory here. They have the heavier tanks, more hit points, a lot of burst between that T-69 Pershing and T-32. And SBM Hawk should play an interesting role in all of this in his little tractor. Oh, Z-Garmin moves in on Fedge, but no connection. Fedge and Z-Garmin on reload. And a hit from Heavy 20. Nice job on G-Forcer as he tries to move into a stronger position.
Tracked, but repaired. Fedge able to dodge another shot. And now the northern position will be taken over by Bernal Empires. The Garmin leading that charge, though, sacrificially. And Fedge finally falls. Azrael 90.
All right, that's a good T1 pickoff. That's the kind of stuff they need that'll cut out a little bit of the vision Simp has. And Heavy 20 will have to play a larger role in keeping track of the Bernal Empire's positions. Of course, Mac can begin predicting a little bit here and there, but he's distracted. He's looking to the north from the southern cap, sitting out in the open, potential prey from a 1390 or a stray T-69 or something. I'm worried for Mac. He represents all of the counter cap pressure and much of Simp's ability to draw this. With 5 minutes left, I think it would be a good time for Bernal Empires to try and start an engagement.
G-Forcer firing towards Mac G. And now blind firing into the bushes. 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Again, enough time. But even if this is a draw, it's a win for Simp.
Yes.
So Bernal Empires has to win, either by tank aside, killing all the tanks on the enemy team, or getting the flag cap.
Which is why they need to use time to their advantage
Exactly.
right now. A draw is not acceptable. Therefore, the clock is only working against you.
Yeah, if you can't accomplish it now, you won't be able to accomplish it at all.
Yeah.
That time is not going to make a difference. It's working in Simp's favor.
And that's all they're going to play for. Simp is going to try and slow down Bernal Empires as much as they can.
The Bernal Empires is also being cautious about Simp potentially, ooh, big bounce against G-Forcer, but Simp potentially moving towards the flag cap to the south to reverse their aggression in the north. Blue Boys captain fires twice in a G-Forcer. This is not
shots.
good.
Blue Boys just goes up on the hill, lets out the shot. Let's see if it hits. If it doesn't, so what? And he's able to get both connections.
Nothing to lose on the side of Simp.
Yeah. And now it looks like we've got a solid position for Simp. Very difficult for G-Forcer to lead the charge. The T-32 needed all of his hit points. They still have a good amount of hit points, but it's not enough. Simp has the advantage in most every situation right now.
And there goes the Garmin. One of the T1s down, trying to put one of the tanks on the flag cap to pull one of the Tier 8s from Simp to attack. Heavy 20, however, finally gets hit.
All right, that's a little bit of what Bernal Empires needs. Those are the gains they need to get. I'm waiting to see if they're able to make some kind of advantage, and it could be in the south. Very well could be as Zone Delta is moving up. I see him getting closer and closer to Mac G's position. Mac G, I think, smells that something's up and is leaving. It's pulling out.
3 minutes, 50 seconds. G-Forcer just around the rock.
Oh, and Static. Static is moving south, I think.
G-Forcer's hit again. Very low, that consistent fire tank. Now the sweep happening in the south.
Servios is moving up. This is the attack. This is the push. It's waiting to happen.
But so's Blue Boys captain up to the north. He's swinging around. Now Azrael's going to be focused on Blue Boys captain. The southern pinch happening for Bernal Empires. Blue Boys hit twice as he falls back. Azrael takes a hit. In the north, Servios now pushes up. Singh returning the aggression, heading towards G-Forcer. He wants G-Forcer down. A shot into the tracks. G-Forcer goes for the repair, gets hit from behind. Singh could fall first. He does not, though. He takes down G-Forcer, and then Singh goes down to Azrael. Azrael on the reload has to fall back as Servios is hit again. And the push from Simp is closing the door on the potential of Bernal Empires to get a win here. But Blue Boys captain closes his eyes in death as Static gets the kill, but he falls. Zone Delta next up. This, you said correctly, Rukil. This focus fire is fantastic from Simp.
Yeah, absolutely. They have tanks to reload. Looks like Heavy 20's got one shell left. Crim's Corsair is loaded. Zone Delta can try all he can, but without Azrael there to back him up, who does look like he's coming in, I don't think this is going anywhere.
Azrael, heat shells taking his teammate out. Last tank alive that can do any damage against the remainder of Simp. It's all up to SBM Hawk once again, and they're on the chase.
Mac G was able to get the kill on a T8 right there, swinging in right at the last second, and there goes the last T1.
And SIMP moves on to the winner's bracket. As Bernal Empires falls to the loser's bracket, they will face the loser of the next map, and SIMP will face the winner.
Surprising. I thought that Bernal Empires would be able to do much, much better. Now, Himmelsdorf, we have to give it to them. I'd chalk that up to a win on Bernal Empires' time. It was just the clock that lost it for him, and maybe I'll give it to SIMP a little bit on putting Blue Boys in strange position, allowing him to draw. After that, SIMP every single battle. I can't think of a situation where SIMP was out of control. You look back, Prokhorovka, completely in control. You look back to Ensk, complete and absolute control. And then Steps, they played defensively. They had every advantage. No reason for SIMP to lose after that first Himmelsdorf battle.
Yeah, the clock worked in the favor of SIMP twice. Twice. In the first battle on the draw, and then the last battle on Steps. Yeah. And Bernal Empire's still in this. They still have a chance to make it to the finals. And if they can play tighter, and that aggression was great, it just was met better by SIMP. And whoever they face, I think Bernal Empires could still have a really decent shot.
It depends on how they're able to come off of this.
Yeah,
if they're demoralized, or if they're able to, say, we got our warm-up, we just face SIMP, anybody else is easier.
Well, the next match that's going to take place tonight is the Cunninghams versus RBIS. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. That match begins after this.